Welcome to the week of joy in our Advent time. I'd like to begin this reflection time by taking just a minute to think about how we experience joy. Who are the people in your life that bring you joy? What are the places? What memories bring you joy? And take just a moment to look around your home or wherever you are watching this from. What do you see that brings you joy? Now, maybe you want to pause this video for a minute or two to really dig into the joy that is in your life. And we'll take another second to think about how we share joy with others. Sharing joy also brings us joy, doesn't it? So it's the gift that keeps on giving. And the good news is that there are endless opportunities for us to offer joy. This Sunday, we heard another scripture reading about John the Baptist. This time, he's grown up and is preparing the way for Jesus, teaching and baptizing. In this story, the people have asked John what they should do, and he responds by telling them that they must share what they have and live with integrity. If you have 2 coats, give one to someone who needs it. If you have food, share with someone who doesn't. And don't extort money with threats or accusations. The story also tells us that even the tax collectors came to be baptized. John turned no one away. He was preparing the way for Jesus, and all were worthy of God's love. So in this scripture, I hear instruction on how to increase joy. First, share what we have. Second, don't do things that will diminish our joy or the joy of others. And third, treat everyone as though they are worthy of love, because they are. So this is the image for this reading, and I'm going to share with you just an excerpt of the artist's statement. The image is called A Closer Walk and is by Reverend Denise Anderson, and this is part of what she wrote. John's words in the text are so full of imagery that it's impossible to fit it all in one image. The shape of his tunic recalls the base of the tree referenced in verse 9. In the background is an obvious path, recalling John's clear instruction to his listeners. Share your belongings. Do not extort people. His counsel is so simple, yet apparently so hard to follow. The path leads to the sunrise on a new day, the colors of which allude to the fire of Jesus' baptism. In his hand is a key, which is a symbol that you'll see in my other works. For Palestinians, the key represents a longing and determination to return home from displacement. The second image I will show is inspired by Zephaniah, another reading for this Sunday, and this one is called Gather Us In and is by Reverend Liesl Gwynn Garrity. And here is what she said. King Josiah, Zephaniah's cousin, has ascended to the throne of Judah. He steps into the aftermath of a half-century of ruin incited by the former king Manasseh, who ruled with evil actions and led the people astray. Much of Zephaniah's prophecy is an exasperated lament. He believes the only way forward is for Yahweh to destroy everything. Too much has been corrupted. Too much has fallen apart. But then, in chapter 3, his message takes an unexpected turn. He turns toward restoration and unabated joy. This joy comes from God, who renews and calms us with love, rejoicing over us with singing. It comes from those who are vulnerable and shamed, being gathered back in, restoring the whole community. In this image, the blueprint background reminds me of a deconstructed building. It's as if the roofline has fallen and the infrastructure crumbled. Yet, the collapsed roof provides an opening that becomes a doorway of invitation. God's hand reaches down from the heavens, gently nudging us inward. Fig trees adorn the opening as signs of promise. A music bar, showing the first line of the familiar hymn, Come, Thou Fount of Every Blessing, lures us toward the doorway, becoming a pathway for our journey home. Perhaps the path toward creating a home for all requires some deconstruction. Some of our structures are rotting. Some of our institutions are compromised. Some of our rituals need repair. And yet, Nothing is beyond redemption. Collective belonging gives way for collective joy. Joy that is free and full. God's love will find a way to renew us and gather us in. So what in our lives might need deconstruction so that we can experience restoration? So that we can free energy and open space for joy? There is an important person in my life who is living this process of deconstruction. And the restoration I have witnessed is amazing. She is transgender and has lived her entire life not feeling at home in her body. I can imagine coming to the place of being able to be open about her gender and sharing her truth with others was incredibly difficult and required significant personal deconstruction. But what I have witnessed over the past few months as she begins the restoration process, begins to be who God has created her to be, is beautiful joy. She radiates beauty. I'm telling this story because it fits with this week's theme, A Home for All, and also with the readings for today. Also because the poem for this week was written with love for all who identify as transgender and or non-binary. The poem is called Advocating for Home, and once again is written by Reverend Sarah Speed. And this is how it goes. I know you don't feel at home in your body. Your clothes don't feel right. Your bones don't feel right. Your name, just a word that people have labeled you with. I see the way you try on pronouns like I try on clothes, looking for something, anything that feels right. And what I would give to build you a shelter, a safe space where you could be, a home where you are safe and free. What I would give to carve out some room for you to process and grieve and dance and sing your way into your true self. But I know it's not that easy. My hands cannot build you safety. My words cannot give you time. My heart cannot be home enough. So until the day when you are truly at home, I will keep marching for you. I will keep advocating for the home you deserve, the home in your own skin. I will keep praying. I will give you my second coat and the shirt off my back and the food from my table. I won't give up preparing the way. A voice is calling out in the wilderness. Do you hear it? There's more for us here than has ever been before. So as we move through this week of joy, may we consider what might be getting in the way of finding a home in joy. What do we need to deconstruct and what needs to be restored? And I don't mean your structural home, although I hope there is joy there as well. I mean the home that God has created for us, God's kingdom, where we are invited into hope and peace and joy, where God is waiting with openness and love. Thanks so much for watching this reflection, and I hope you all have a very blessed week. See you soon.